Good morning, everybody. This is Cassie Stumo. I am the Senior Digital Marketing Specialist at EAC. Thank you for joining us today. We will start off with a quick introduction of EAC, and then Kurt Peterson and Rob Miller will introduce themselves. Everyone gets a recording of the session pending any technical difficulties. There will also be a short survey that appears once the webinar is over. So hang tight once we're done and drop your questions in the queue along the way, and we'll answer those after the presentation. I'll pass things along to Kurt so we can get started.
All right, thanks, Cassie. Good morning, everybody, and appreciate you guys logging on to join us to talk about some tools that we can use in these trying times. A really quick intro. EAC is a engineering product design firm that has really grown and changed over 20 years of helping customers build and transform the way that they design, manufacture, connect to, and service their products. So we've really kind of started out in a CAD space and have grown with the PTC line of tools into data management, into IoT, into augmented reality. So really covering the gamut of tools that engineers use to do their jobs. My name is Kurt Peterson. I am the IoT Technical Account Manager. My background is industrial automation. I worked for a number of years being a solutions architect in that realm. And I'm joined today by our VP of Connected Solutions, Rob Miller.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Yeah, this is Rob Miller. I'm in our Burnsville office. I've been with EAC for about 20 years, and we've been doing a lot of things around connecting systems, right? You saw in our tag phrase, it's connect everything. And so I get to help companies with strategies and solutions to say, all right, well, what's the current business need and how can we leverage the IoT and apply that to industrial solutions? How do we use augmented reality? How do we do connected and remote factories? How do we do connected and remote products, streaming work instructions in new ways, and especially now with the COVID pandemic in place, providing those solutions. So we're working at really helping companies solve really pressing issues, and I get the opportunity to help companies do that. All right, so I think we're going to keep moving on from here. I think Cassie's got a survey she's going to queue up for our audience. Is that right, Cassie?
Yes, I do. So I'm going to go ahead and launch a poll right now for everybody to see. And then just as a confirmation, Rob and Kurt, do you see the poll?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Okay, so I will read it in case you guys are just now getting engaged, but the question is, or the statement is, I would describe our perspective on augmented reality as, and you've got a couple of options here. Obviously, all of these are relative to your situation, but I'll give everybody just a few moments to answer. I know that some of our customers we talk to are really starting to get excited about these technologies. Some people just aren't there yet, but we just want to take this poll so we can have a better understanding of where everybody's at. All right, looks like most of you have answered. I'm going to go ahead and close the poll and share the results. And it looks like we've got a multiple answers here, but it looks like everybody understands that there's some ROI and positive business outcomes from AR. So I'm going to hand things back to Kurt, and he will get us started.
Sweet. Well, thanks, Cassie. So let's talk about, a little bit about the state of world today. We can talk about numerous benefits that you might get from these technologies, but the thing that's really on everybody's mind right now in today's world is the COVID-19 outbreak and the challenges that is forcing businesses, right? We're talking about closures, we're talking about travel bans, a lot of things that are making work as usual very difficult. And while we don't want to lose sight on that and lose sight on the ability of Chalk as a tool to overcome travel bans, I do want to reemphasize that problems solved by this tool are really ubiquitous, and they were here before and they will be here after we kind of get our hands around this global pandemic that we find ourselves in. So what are some of the challenges that companies today are seeing in their environments? The first one is a worker skill gap, right? We have a generational turnover of operators who have been working machines and growing with product lines for, years and years and years. They know the exact frequency that a bearing is going to sound right before it fails, right? You can't replace that sort of institutional knowledge with any sort of training course or online learning, right? So how do you then bridge the gap to take that knowledge that is in your experienced technicians, people who have been working for 30 years, and give it to the next generation of talent, right? How do you facilitate that transport? Another challenge that companies are running into is the manner of work is changing, right? Products are getting more complex and the tools to use them are getting more complex, right? Everything's getting more feature rich, everything is evolving, which is a great thing, but it also makes supporting that more difficult. And then the third one is customers are demanding more, right? We live and breathe in a competitive global market where the customer can demand more and more stringent requirements. So how do you satisfy those? How do you provide uptime? How do you make sure that they're getting the best experience that you can? As well as those problems that are going to be here and after, there are some acute issues that do only exist when you have, say, a travel ban across your company. So Rob, can you touch a little bit more on some of the specific ones that, our next couple of months are going to be very concerned with in terms of keeping business running?
Sure thing. Thanks, Kurt. Yeah, so the list that's on screen, you guys can all read this. But what a piece I want to point to is, while this is a heightened awareness and a challenge right now, this is stuff that EAC has been doing literally for decades. So remotely accessing and maintaining data across your systems. How do you connect equipment and enterprise equipment and products and get data back and forth between those things? How do you do that remotely through a phone, through a web screen, through a dashboard? How do you have visibility to manufacturing and operations? Is my equipment operating right now? And we're actually going to show a part of that in a backdrop to our Chalk demo in a minute. How do you do things like design reviews and change a product and understand how a product works? How do you change features of things or manage fixing a problem with a product with a remote and distributed team? How do you connect engineers with quality assurance when you can't have people face to face and talk about a product? And then things like troubleshooting, a product changed or something was operating and it broke. So depending on the words that you use, it might fit for your company or it might not, but these are a lot of the things that EAC has been solving problems for companies for a lot of years. We've actually collected a bunch of these and said, all right, for a remote workforce, what are some solutions that can fit? We put up a special landing page on our website to help talk through that. So I'd encourage people to visit eacpds.com and you can see that stuff. And you'll also find threads and links through that of how to contact us so we can help with those pieces and strategies. But all of this points to this current issue around remote organizations, remote people, and real world business solutions to solve that. Even on this call this morning, we're using GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar to run this with people scattered across the country potentially. And none of us are face to face. And so EAC is doing this. We've been remotely working as a company, not only during the COVID situation, but it's been something we've been doing well for years across the country. So anyway, that's a list of things that we've identified. Specifically, though, we want to dig into Vuforia Chalk and how augmented reality and this app can come together. And actually, there's a cool thing. We'll talk about the free part of this at the end. But we're going to talk about how to apply this to, say, a factory. All right, Kurt?
Yeah, no, thanks, Rob. So, yeah, I think we've done a good job orienting everybody to the situation problem set that we're talking about. So what's the solution? So for us, we're going to take a look at Vuforia Chalk today, which is built on the Vuforia engine for augmented reality from PTC. And this is kind of a sliver of the augmented reality solution set that we can pull and offer, but we think it's a very easy to apply and very applicable one in today's basis. So what do people use Chalk for? You got to export your experts. If you've got 3 people across a global organization that know how to fix every machine, how do you get them to remote sites quickly, efficiently, and cheaply, right? In today's day and age, they may not be able to go there because of travel ban, but the fact is that if you avoid putting them on a plane and still fix the problem for the customer, you're still winning, right? So in a normal, completely ordinary day-to-day effect, if you can use your tools efficiently, you're going to be more worthwhile for yourself internally and also for your customers. Chalk is basically a way to intuitively use augmented reality to export that expertise and put it in more people's hands. So what Chalk basically does is, like other augmented reality products, it will orient the device that you're using. In this case, it'll be a mobile phone for Chalk in the physical world. So basically, there's a computer vision program that underpins all of it that will scan the physical world. And then what Chalk does on top of that, so it puts basically a FaceTime window and then puts it on steroids, where you can make annotations that will then stick to the real space. So as we're going to look through in our demo, it's going to be a much more intuitive, spatially recognizable feature set that people can use to guide non-experts through their process. So this is going to be a lot easier than operating a phone center. This is going to be a lot more intuitive, and it's going to be accessible. Anybody can use this. Everybody has a mobile phone. It's a great and easy tool to use. So I think with that, I think we've done enough talking. I think it's probably about time just to go show some stuff. So I'm going to pop over to a view of the EAC demonstrator factory, right? So as Rob said, Rob's on site there. This factory lives in Minneapolis, where our company is headquartered. I'm in Michigan currently. That's where I'm based. But I'm going to be kind of playing the role of a remote engineer looking over this factory. You know, maybe I'm looking at 17 different sites across the US or across the world, and I want to be tracking them in terms of their performance. Now, we're going to be using our EAC demonstrator factory to do this. Basically, what this is, just to introduce it a little bit, it's the ThingWorx IoT platform connected through the laptop you see on screen. And then it's going to be able to give us various performance KPIs when the ball bearing factory is running. There's a lot else that we can talk to in this picture, right? We can talk to wearables, we can talk to smart connected products, we can talk to a lot of the IoT and AR stuff that we do here. But for this one, we're specifically just going to look at using Chalk to help troubleshoot. So I'm looking at my dashboard. This is the ThingWorx IoT platform feeding me performance KPI about the operation of my factory. And I can see I've got some problems. Normally I'm able to operate the motor from this other side, but I can tell that it's not operating right now. So I'm going to go ahead and give Rob a call. So if I'm the remote engineer, Rob's my technician on the floor, I'm going to say, hey, Rob, what's necessarily going on? Why aren't we running?
Rob, you might be muted on your side.
Oh, sorry. There we go. I was actually enamored by watching Kurt work with the remote display and the live video feed that's there. So we've got a live video feed pointing to our laptop here in Minneapolis, and could be interesting that yeah. So on Kurt's end, he might not even be able to see through it with something on the internet on his end. What you do see though is there's a live screen in front of me here in Minneapolis, and I can see that the dashboard shows our motor is off, it's not running. It had been, but now we seem to be stuck on this end. And I will, based on existing processes, I know my education system says I'm supposed to be able to push that button and the system should come back up and run. And I can see that it's not doing that on my end. And maybe what I would also do on this end is I would reload my mashup on my laptop.
So yeah, Rob, I've lost connection from my point, but we can still start troubleshooting this via the phone.
Yep.
Basically, so yeah, the standard operating procedure is to restart that motor via the red button. And so did you push the red button?
Yeah, this one up here in the front I have. I mean, that's the big red button that kind of sticks out in front. So that's the one I pushed.
Okay, I think I know the issue here, but let's go ahead and Chalk so you can show me exactly what button you're talking about.
Okay.
So now Rob's gonna give me a call via Chalk, which I'm just showing through my iPad here.
All right, is that coming up through your iPad? All right, there we go. Okay, so I've got you in my contacts, and I'm going to click Show My View. So it looks like it's trying to call you now.
Yep, here comes Rob.
All righty, and if I click Share My Video, the app tells me to scan the space that I'm in. All righty, so it says that it should be connected. So tell me what you see on your end, Kurt.
Yeah, so I'm definitely, you've brought me to the factory now. So I'm, as the remote expert, I can see exactly what you're seeing. I see the Dobot, I see our control panel and our display screen. So yeah, I'm all here. So show me which red button you pushed.
All right, so you can see on screen, but I'm also just going to circle this one. So I'm drawing literally straight on my device. So that's there, but now, and as I move around, it looks like that's staying. Okay, so that should be anchored on your space and might even show up in the webcam. You see this through my phone, but that red button in the front is what I pushed.
Okay, so that's a common mistake actually that a lot of people do. So that's the wrong red button to push, and I know the lit is written that way, but what I actually want you to do, kind of come around here, go to the back right side of the factory.
Oh, all right, so I'm following your blue arrow. Hey, there's another red button. All right.
Yeah, so if you see that one right there, that's the actual red button that we want to be pushing here to start up the screw.
Okay, push the red button, but nothing's happening.
Interesting. Okay, now this gets another step. Well, there's a couple other things that we can try out. So if you go back to our control panel over there, our little PLC rack that's running our little factory.
You'll see, oh, there's a blue arrow pointed that way.
Yep.
This thing, okay.
Yep. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause my view and draw a couple things for you to check. The first thing I want you to check is this Ethernet cable. Make sure it's plugged in and go to the thing. And then I want you also to check the status of the run switch there. So let's pull the cable first.
All right, Ethernet's on, but it says error. There's a blinking red arrow, and yep, I see it. So this thing right here.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. So that's our issue right there. I think we're in stop mode, and we need to move that switch from the bottom position, from the stop to run. Yep. So move it up.
Okay.
All right. Let's try to restart our motor now via the console and see if that works.
Okay. Well, so I still have an error button there. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. I mean, you've walked me through being able to push the buttons. So if the laptop doesn't come back to life, then that might be as far as we can get with today's demo, but I've certainly hit those buttons, and now I need to dig into maybe some kind of a networking problem. But yeah, because I'm not seeing everything come back up online here. Looks like ThingWorx might be frozen on our little mobile demonstrator laptop. Not entirely sure what that's about.
Okay, well, live demos being what they are, we can only say that we did everything to the book, Rob.
Well, so normally the way this would work is our system would come back on and our remote monitoring mashup would be running. With the internet and live videos going the way they are these days, you can imagine there's some kind of a quirk there. But what the point of today's call was to be able to demonstrate how augmented reality can walk somebody through flipping the right switches. So from a physical interaction space, I think we've been able to at least show that part.
Absolutely. And then once we've done the Chalk session, it gives you a nice annotation of every, it gives you a nice snapshot of every annotation you've made. So I would be able to export all these pictures and then put them, say, into our standard work operations. You say, hey, these are the steps, here's the procedure, and I can move on from there. So that's Vuforia Chalk in a nutshell. So now we're just going to recircle back and talk a little bit more about how EAC plays into this larger picture.
Right. So like we said at the top of the call, what I get to do is connect people and strategies and systems and try to help work through what are the problems you're trying to solve and what technologies could come into that. So we often use something like three-legged stool as an allegory to what we're trying to deal with. So from an IoT perspective, when we talk about solving business problems, we talk about business strategy, what's the need? We talk about connected things, and we talk about a platform. So all of this stuff on a remote workforce solutions page points to these three things coming together, whether it's how to pull CAD and product information, how to produce it, how that fits up with what your current strategy is or business needs, bringing those together and then leveraging, we typically use ThingWorks as our platform, and be able to show things like the mashup that was on the screen. That's how we try to bring all three of those pieces together. Now, I think there is a queue in this webinar where you can enter some questions if you've got concerns about those things or you want to talk further about those. Cassie, I think there's a way for attendees to pump questions in there.
Yeah, if everybody sees on their panel, you should have a questions bar that you can type in questions, and we can either answer them at the end of the webinar here, or I can reach out afterwards. So go ahead and do that if you feel compelled.
Cool. And yeah, again, the idea here is how can we help with a variety of remote workforce solutions? And that's what we tried to push up to that specific landing page on our website. All right.
So that was a pretty short, pretty sweet demo. You know, whether it worked or not, we'll skim past that, but hopefully we illustrated the point and the power of just using this quick and easy app. So what are some next steps that we can look forward to, Rob?
So specifically, the first and foremost out of that three-legged stool is how can something like Chalk or other internet technologies help your company with a current need? Specifically, obviously today we've been talking about the idea of remote troubleshooting, helping get expertise in while somebody isn't traveling, leveraging cool technology like augmented reality. And I don't know how much we've hit it on this call today, but there is actually a free offer running. So PTC is providing, I think it's up to like 1,000 users in Chalk per company to be able to use the technology that we were demonstrating. The part that was actually the live connection between Kurt guiding me through the physical space by sharing a screen and annotating on the physical space. That's the Chalk app. So Vuforia Chalk is available from the App Store and Google Play. We do have a promo code, so please contact us, or there will be information that's going to come in the follow-up emails and the replays behind this website, this webinar. That is a promo code for here's the registration step to get access to your free account, and that's going to be running free through June. At least that's the current state, and we're all hoping and praying that the COVID crisis is settling in the very near future. We'll see how that all works out. And specifically, we're also providing a 30-minute quick start from EAC. So we're calling it the EAC Quick Start for Vuforia Chalk, where we can help guide you and get you through the process and help you with expectations and getting your account set up if you should need that help. We want to provide that also to accelerate and get you guys through the process. So 3 simple steps. Think about how this can help your company. Contact us or go through our registration process with there will be a follow-up email. It's very simple. And then schedule a time where we can meet up and help you get started if you'd like that help.
Awesome. Great. I know a question did come in a little bit earlier about the price of Vuforia Chalk. And again, like Kurt and Rob mentioned, right now, PTC is offering this software to anyone for free, unlimited use until June. So if you are live on this call right now, you'll receive a follow-up email this afternoon with the replay and the 2 steps you need to take to get that software for free. If you're watching this as a recording, you can reach out to us and we'll send you those 2 steps in an email. So thanks again, everybody, for attending. Just a reminder that survey will appear once we shut down the webinar. So just take a few minutes to answer those questions. Thanks again, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.